There are moments in history that feel slightly out of place. Not because they're dramatic, not because they're violent, but because they don't fit the timeline we were taught. We imagine the ancient world as slow, simple, limited by stone tools and guesswork, but sometimes the objects they left behind don't agree with that picture. They look too precise, too intentional, too advanced for their time. Tonight, we're not talking about myths. We're talking about real artifacts, and each one forces the same quiet question. How did this exist back then? Thank you for choosing to watch this video. If you enjoy exploring the strange edges of history, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who loves ancient mysteries, and subscribe to our channel, 2AM Ancient Zone. It helps this channel grow, and it helps stories like this keep finding their way to you. All right, let's begin. In 1901, sponge divers off the coast of Greece recovered a shipwreck. Among the cargo was a lump of corroded bronze that looked like scrap. For decades, no one understood what it was. Then, modern CT scans revealed something impossible inside. Dozens of precision-cut gears, stacked in complex ratios. Recent high-resolution imaging showed something even stranger. The mechanism didn't just track the sun and moon, it modeled the moon's irregular orbit using a pin-and-slot gear system, a mechanical solution engineers still recognize today. Even more revealing, newly read inscriptions show this device was designed to teach astronomy. It explained eclipses, predicted planetary cycles, tracked major sporting calendars. This wasn't decoration. It wasn't symbolic. It was a working mechanical model of the cosmos, built more than 2,000 years ago. What's unsettling isn't that it existed. It's that nothing like it appears again in history for over 1,000 years. Not because humans forgot the sky, but because this level of mechanical engineering disappears from the record. In modern-day Iraq, archaeologists uncovered a small clay jar. Inside it, a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When reconstructed using ancient materials and filled with acidic liquid like vinegar, the jar produces a measurable electrical current. Recent chemical analysis suggests acidic residues were present in some original examples. Today, the strongest mainstream theory is not city-wide electricity, but electroplating. Thin gold or silver coatings were found on objects from the same region and era. The battery could have been used to plate ritual items or jewelry. Not mass power, precision power. Someone discovered a practical use of electricity long before electricity was understood as a concept. This wasn't an electrical age. It was a single electrical trick. And sometimes, that's how technology begins. In Peru and Egypt, massive stone blocks fit together so tightly you can't slide a blade between them. Recent laser scanning of these structures revealed the surfaces follow repeating precision patterns. They weren't eyeballed. They were standardized. Microsurface analysis shows signs of abrasive slurry cutting, sand and mineral grit used with copper tools to shape even granite. Modern experiments have reproduced similar results, but there's a catch. It takes enormous coordination, highly trained labor, and workflows that we no longer practice. The technology wasn't futuristic. The organization was. What we lost wasn't machines. It was industrial-scale craftsmanship. In Delhi stands an iron pillar that has resisted rust for over 1,600 years. Recent metallurgical studies show it contains unusually high phosphorus combined with ancient forging techniques. This creates a thin protective layer that slowly repairs itself in the local climate. Modern material scientists now study this pillar to design better corrosion-resistant steel. The ancient blacksmiths didn't know corrosion chemistry. They perfected corrosion resistance through practice. Sometimes technology advances without theory, just repetition, failure, and refinement over generations. The Sabu disc is a fragile stone object with curved blades and a central hole. Recent 3D modeling shows its geometry creates rotational balance. Fracture analysis suggests it broke under stress, which hints at something strange. This stone version may have been a prototype for an object meant to be made in metal. We don't know what it powered. We don't know what it moved. But its design suggests function, not decoration. Not every mystery hides lost technology. Some hide unfinished ideas. In Egypt's Dendera temple, a relief carving appears to show a glowing bulb-like shape. Modern Egyptology is clear. This is symbolic mythology, a creation god emerging from a lotus. But recent digital scans show the relief was modified across temple renovations. Later artists copied earlier symbols whose original meaning may have already faded. So what we're seeing is layered memory. Sometimes the past looks advanced because symbols outlive the explanations behind them. Stone discs with spiral grooves found in remote mountain regions became linked to extraordinary claims. Recent scholarship shows many of these stories trace back to modern exaggerations. The stones themselves resemble ritual discs found across Asia. The real lesson here isn't ancient visitors. It's how mystery attracts myth. When an artifact lacks explanation, stories rush in to fill the silence. Ancient Indian texts describe vimanas, flying vehicles of gods and kings. Modern textual analysis shows many technical-sounding descriptions come from later layers of writing. They are poetic metaphors, ritual language, and cultural imagination blended together, not blueprints. But here's what's fascinating. Every civilization imagines flight long before achieving it. The idea of technology often appears before the technology itself. First in story, then in science. And then there's a Roman artifact that looks like a magic trick. It's called the Lycurgus Cup from around the 4th century CE. In normal light, the glass looks green, but when light shines through it from behind, it turns deep red. Not paint, not dye. The glass itself changes color depending on the direction of the light. Modern analysis found why. Tiny particles of gold and silver suspended inside the glass, so small they behave differently than normal metal. Today we call this nanoparticles. The Romans didn't have microscopes. They didn't have modern physics, but they discovered a way to produce glass with effects that modern materials science still uses. The same principle behind certain optical filters and sensors. The most unsettling part isn't that it happened by accident. It's that it happened inside a culture that treated glassmaking like a controlled craft, with recipes, trial, and precision. So the Lycurgus Cup becomes proof of something we keep forgetting. Sometimes advanced technology isn't a new machine. It's an old material, used in a way that only looks impossible because we didn't expect the ancients to experiment at that level. These artifacts don't prove a lost super civilization. They prove something quieter. Human knowledge doesn't move in a straight line. Skills are learned, perfected, forgotten, rediscovered. When civilizations fall, knowledge doesn't vanish loudly. It fades quietly. And when we find traces of it again, we mistake forgotten skill for impossible technology. So when you hear, "This shouldn't exist," it doesn't mean history is broken. It means history is deeper than the version we were taught.